Hello everyone, welcome to the Microtext and Help channel. Today I will show you how to use Micromascot Basic, a simple program developed to help today's veterinarian in managing his profession. If my English is not correct, please forgive me, I am a robot. First part, the configuration options. To open the configuration panel, click on the Setting tab. This is the configuration panel. By clicking here, you will be able to change the company information. Here, you can modify the tax options. Among others, the acronym and tax rate, the acronym of the tax ID, the document counter and other related things. By clicking here, you can change the currency options. Here, you can define the hours and intervals of attention. Here, you can configure Micromascot to send mail. To set or modify the administrator password, click here. From here you can perform the maintenance of the database. Here you can configure Micromascot to publish patient stories on a website. This function requires a hosting with certain characteristics, a domain name and an application that receives the parameters from the web server side. All of the above is not included with Micromascot and is optionally purchased separately. From here you can edit the templates of various documents, such as invoices and cases. Here you can get a user license and activate this copy of Micromascot. Here you can change the background of the work desk. By clicking here you can configure group work on a local area network. And from here you can change the language. Before we go any further, let's study some of the more important configuration options. One of them are tax options. In some countries, taxes are applied to products and services, in others, taxes are applied to products and a withholding is applied to services. Here you can modify the name of the tax and its rate. If your country uses a graduated income tax, just write 0. Regarding the sales documents, Micromascot allows two types of sales documents to be issued, since in some countries, those issued for the sale of services differ from those issued for the sale of products. If your country issues invoices for both services and products sold, be sure to check this option. The other configuration option I want to dwell on is template editing. Imagine a template like the mold on which Micromascot is based to print different documents. Micromascot will open the templates in the word processor installed on your computer. For example, in Microsoft Word. To start editing a template, click this button. In this list box, the templates that can be modified appear. Choose one, and click this button to edit it. The template will open in the default word processor installed on your computer. In this case, in Microsoft Word, you can modify the templates as you want, change the color, type and size of the letters, add logos and more. But what you should never do is modify the name of the variables. The variables are distinguished because they are enclosed in square brackets. Variables can still be added or removed, and you can also change their font, size and color, or even change their location. All the rest of the text can be modified to your liking. When you are done, save the changes before closing the word processor. Second part, the employees. To add an employee to the database, click on the tab, Files and Cases, then click on the button, Staff, and finally on the button, Add. Important. In the ID field I suggest you use the National Identification Number. This ID cannot be duplicated. On the other hand, this is a free field in which you can store any additional information about the employee. You can change the name of this field by clicking on this blue label. This table will show the employees added to the database. To modify the data of one of them, after looking for it in the table, select the row and click on this button. If you want to delete it from the database, click on this other button. Third part. Add products, services, vaccines and activities. To add products, services, vaccines or activities, click on the Files and Cases tab, then click the Services, Products and Activities button. Finally, click on the Add button. Some important considerations. The ID must be unique. If it is not, you will not be able to save the changes. You must choose the type of ticket in this list box. If you are adding an intangible service such as patient care, select Service. If you are adding a tangible product such as a medicine or as a pet accessory, select the product option. You can also add vaccines. And finally, you can also add activities. Both activities and services are not measured in physical units and therefore, these two fields will be disabled. On the other hand, products and vaccines are measured in activities, and in both cases, as you sell or supply, the stock will be discounted. In another area, Micromascot allows you to group all these entries into groups that we call families. You can create families and group the products in them. For example, you could create the dog accessories family and group all the products of that type in it. In the same way, you can group services, activities and vaccines. Finally, in this area you can define the sale price. Remember that Micromascot will automatically calculate the tax, which for this example has been set at 19%. Remember, if your country does not use a fixed tax, but a variable one, you can set it to 0, so that Micromascot does not calculate it automatically. Next, I'll add a couple of products. As with other records, to modify a product or service, first find it in the table and select it, then click the View and Modify button. If you want to delete it, click the Delete button. Fourth part. Customers and patients. To add customers and patients, click on the Files and Cases tab. Then, click on the Customers button. To add a new customer, click the Add button. As always, the ID must be unique. And that is why I recommend you write the national identification number or code here. I will continue completing the rest of the fields. To modify or delete customers, after selecting a record in the table, use these buttons. Once we have added the customer, it is time to add the patient. To add a new patient, click on the Patients and Cases button. All the patients registered in the database will be displayed here. Add a patient by clicking the Add button. Now, search for a customer by clicking this button. If the patient you are adding does not have a known owner, you can select Unknown Customer. Select a customer. In this example, I'll select Vlad. Then complete the rest of the fields with the animal's data. You can select a photo by clicking this button. And in this other field, you can add annotations related to this dog. In this example, the Labrador Retriever named Dinah has become associated with the customer named Vlad. Fifth part. The appointments. To schedule an appointment, first click on the Appointments tab. And here, click the Add button. In the window, select the date of the appointment, and then select the time. Remember that both the range of hours and the interval between each one can be set in the configuration panel. In this other field, write the place for the appointment. If the appointment will be held in your office, you can click on this button. Write a subject for this quote, for example, decay. Search for the patient by clicking this other button. On the left are the customers registered in the database. By selecting a customer, the associated animals will be displayed on the right. Select an animal. If you want to add the customer's contact information and address to the appointment, check this box. Finally, save the changes. Scheduled appointments will be displayed in this area. You can also filter the quotes applying various criteria. In this list box, you will find several predefined search filters. Using this button, you will be able to show scheduled appointments from a date. And you can also show the appointment scheduled in a range of days from the selected date. Finally, the usual. You can modify or delete appointments by clicking on these two buttons. Sixth part. Patient cases and stories. To create a new case, first click on the Files and Cases tab. Then click on the Patients and Cases button. Select a patient from this table, and then click the Cases button. At the bottom of the window, all cases of the selected patient will be displayed. In this example, Dinah's cases are shown. To start a new case associated with Dinah, click on the New Case button. The case window will open. In this window, first select the vet doctor. In this other field, type the symptoms. Remember that you can modify the case data at any time later. For example, to add new symptoms. In this field, write the diagnosis. If it is not possible to conclude an accurate diagnosis, you can type down the suspected diagnosis instead. Finally, to start the case, click on this button. You can add services, products, and cases by clicking on this button. Use this field to add annotations related to the product. For example, the dosage of a drug or the details of some activity. You can also select the period for which the product must be supplied or perform an activity. To do this, use these two buttons. To change the status of this case, use this drop-down list box. In this other area, the amount owed by the customer will appear. To add discounts, click on the blue label. When the customer pays you, using the Collect button, you can receive partial or total amounts. Finally, don't forget that all the changes made in this window are automatically saved, so you can close the window at any time. To edit an existing case, find a case in this list, then click the View Edit Case button. When you open a case, you can modify, add or remove information. To change the status of a case to completed, click this list box. Other interesting functions that you will find in this window are the following. Use this button to save photos related to the case. This button is for publish the case on your website. This feature requires some services that are not included with this version of Micromascot. If you need to hire our services to help you with this, write to us. Using this other button, you can send the case by email. See the help available on our website for how you can properly configure Micromascot to send mail. Finally, with this button you can print the case. As we have seen before with other records, you can delete cases by selecting the case in the table and then clicking the Delete Case button. 7th part, the store and a little more. Micromascot has a simple sales system. Click on the Store tab. This sales system will allow you to sell products from the store. As in any other sales system, find and add to the cart the products you want to sell. Micromascot also includes other gadgets. With this button you will open a simple annotations block. Use this button to open the Windows calculator. If you want to protect access to certain areas of the program, use this button. Suppose you want to protect the patient in case area. Enter the area first, and then protect it using this button. It is important to note that for this function to work properly, it is necessary to create the administrator password in the configuration panel. We have seen that Micromascot Basic is a simple but quite powerful solution for most of the administrative needs of the veterinary professional. You can download this little titan for free from our website. I hope you liked this video tutorial. Thanks for visiting.